welcome to my channel Foxey Sunrise and my creaky office chair. Today we have a reading, and the reading is going to be about what leap of faith are we hesitating on taking? What leap of faith are we hesitating on taking? And hopefully this will encourage you and motivate you to take this leap of faith. So we have 3 groups. The timestamps will be down below in the description box, and also choose as many groups as you're drawn to. Starting from my left, we have Undulation, Comfort, in reverse, and Nurture, also in reverse. Okay, I'll see you later. Hey group 1, this is your reading on the leap of faith that you're hesitating on taking. So this is your theme for this reading, Undulation. I always have to look up this word, to be honest, because I forget what it means. It has to do with like the flow of things. Move with a smooth wave-like motion. So that's what I thought, even though I couldn't explain it. With this group, I'm feeling a rigidity and a stubbornness. And I feel that the leap of faith here that you're holding yourself back from is more about being flexible and adaptable to whatever curveballs you may receive in life. So not being afraid to pivot and release whatever expectations that you had about how something is supposed to come to you or look, or how the end result was supposed to be, or how you were supposed to get to somewhere, how the journey was supposed to come or appear. Okay, we have my home is a sacred space full of beauty and inspiration and protection. Number 35. And Pisces. So you already know the answers you seek. Trust what you know. Kutumi and the Shekinah. Sacred self, unleash your spirit, express your gifts, dance to the sacred rhythm of life. Rhythm of life. So the first thing that came to my mind was a feeling of claustrophobia when it comes to maybe your home environment. Maybe you're living with a family or roommates who affect your mood. And you may be the type of person who is very easily affected by your environment. You're very sensitive to your environment. Some of you may have gotten an inkling to move out, to move away, to change your environment. And even if it's out of your control, there are ways to recharge your batteries and awaken that inspiration again to continue moving forward in life and doing what you enjoy, or finding out what you enjoy and want to do. ways to cultivate joy. There's ways to do that. Yeah, there's movement here with the Eight of Cups. So there's a need to either get out of your environment by permanently moving away, and if that's not an option, then carving out time to where you can detach and disconnect from that environment. So going to the park or going to a coffee shop if you're having trouble connecting to your imagination. You definitely, with Pisces here, you need some alone time, some space and solitude to be able to tap into that sort of intuitive reservoir and potential that you carry. I'm getting someone who has, so I have a birth chart calculator underneath the timestamps if you're interested in that. I wanted to mention that before I start speaking in tongues about astrology. I'm seeing someone with heavy 12th house placements, so personal planets in the 12th house, and the personal planets would be Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, even Jupiter, I'd say. So it doesn't have to be in Pisces, but it can be, or it can, those planets might be in the 12th house. Did I say moon? Sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and possibly Jupiter in Pisces or in the 12th house. But your environment definitely affects your mood, and it could cloud your judgment. So like Page of Cups, yeah, there's a need to be to one, be in solitude to be able to really hone in and learn about your emotional landscape, to become more emotionally mature. And I also feel like moving can give you a refresh in your creative pursuits. You might get more creative inspiration by moving. So yeah, there's a need to almost let go of trying to fix or fight with the situation that you're in, which could be where the stubbornness I was feeling was coming from earlier. And it could be stubbornness. It could also be, I'm seeing it too as not being able to see another way or another method or another approach to the situation that might be stifling your inspiration, your creativity, stifling your energy to put towards your creative projects. So you might be feeling drained, tired all the time. You could be around people who maybe are so you might have 12th house placements, but I'm also getting to Pisces in the 7th house or Pisces in the 11th house. Planets there. So maybe you might have people who are giving off the sort of negative expression of the archetype of Pisces. So that would be people who are have addictive personalities, who are escape artists, who maybe just are very floaty and unrealistic. So they might not really have a goal in mind. They might not really have a clear focus. They might be maybe even very manipulative in a lot of ways, or pessimistic, mopey, very victim, very like I'm the victim sort of embodiment. So you might be around some people who aren't very empowering or uplifting to where you're trying to be and where you're trying to go, and it's causing a lot of heaviness and drainage of your energy. It might feel like you're using more energy by trying to stay balanced in this living situation than and it's exerting way more energy versus, say, if you were at somewhere where you felt like you were around positive people in a beautiful environment, a harmonious environment, and you had so much more energy to use towards your desires and your dreams and your goals. And even if it's almost like, I want to give the analogy of someone who has same amount of energy, but it doesn't feel like you have the same amount of energy, depending on how that energy is being used and the environment in which you're holding this energy. So you could have the same amount of energy that you would in the second scenario, where you're living in a better space, you're in a better environment, but it feels like you have all that energy because it's being used and directed towards something that you love, versus you could have the same energy, but it's being drained so quickly and zapped so quickly that it doesn't even feel like the same amount of fuel that you would have in the positive scenario, because of the toxicity that you're around. So the leap of faith is to move, is to leave, to release and say goodbye to this environment. And the other thing too with the death card here is, I feel like there is this underlying ending of a cycle, or an ending to, or shedding to who you have been, and you may be getting more intuitive tugs and nudges to move a certain direction. And because of this, like, you're starting to work, like, things are starting to change in your mindset and your desires, and then that's starting to change and have effect to your actions and the way that you move. And so because you're changing, you may be noticing that your outer environment that you originally vibrated and resonated with no longer is a match for you. And so these old activities, people, clothes even, aren't assisting you anymore, and they're being needed to, there's a need to release them, donate them, walk away from them, say goodbye to them, because you are trying to do something differently, and you're trying to really inevitably become someone new through through the guidance that you're receiving, or through even if it's just new habits, or again, like, you're growing, and growth also means there's a death of something. So it's like, what you used to want, you don't want anymore. What you used to like, you don't like anymore. The clothes that you used to wear don't fit you the same way anymore. The people that you used to hang out with and also float around aimlessly with, you don't feel comfortable with that anymore. You don't see any pleasure in doing that. It's like a part of you has become, there's something sobering about this transformation. There's something that is awakening and enlightening about this transformation. Celebrate differences. Let's just for group one. Let's just for group one. Let's choose for group one. Higher ground, celebrate differences. Okay. I haven't read out of this book in a really long time, but I'm gonna read for Celebrate differences. You understand that everything in life comes with an opposite, even within yourself. You have polarity, male, female, high, low, good, bad, light, dark. It is our differences that makes us unique. We all come from the same collective and all have the light of the inner soul. The more we learn and grow in our thoughts and attitudes, the more understanding and compassion can develop within our lives. Take a moment to appreciate an individual for the qualities that they are sharing with you and find what learning can be gained from this situation. That's really beautiful. And then we have higher ground. So it's interesting with the acceptance piece, and I'm looking back at Pisces. There's a need for compassion when it comes to separating yourself. There's a compassion and a love that develops here when we move to a higher perspective. And the acceptance I feel that sticks out to me is through acceptance of yourself and where you are, and also appreciation for where you've come from and who came along in that journey. And if they're meant to come with you, they can in their own time. But I feel that by accepting where you're at and what's best for you, and that you may need to pivot and switch things up for your best and highest good, that you're also allowing other people to be who they are, and you are allowing them to express themselves, versus maybe fighting all the time or telling them how they're wrong, or trying to change them or the situation. It's like celebrating differences, celebrating that there is maybe a disconnect or something that isn't working out, something that we aren't on the same page with anymore because of this new perspective that I have. And not pointing fingers or blaming anyone for that, and not staying there either, because that's where resentment builds, and it's not very loving for you to stay there. And because you know that you don't want to be there, it's not very loving for them. And if this is the way that, if this is the way that this environment is going to play out, if that's what's best for them and it's not what's best for you, there's a way to be loving by walking away, which is a very, I don't want to say it's contradicting, it's a very odd, it's not odd, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's just a very interesting message, I guess. I don't want to beat a dead horse with what I'm saying, but it is very fascinating. I think there's some compromise here. Maybe there's going to be some communication, like a communication where people are just being really real with each other and what is going on, what's working for them, and why they feel that way. And I think that can be very loving as well too. It's like, hey, I know that I'm doing this and you're doing that, and I think it's best for me to take this route, and I love you still, and I wish you the best, kind of thing. Like a very conscious parting or agreeing to disagree sort of vibe. Because you are deciding to walk away and you're going somewhere else. With the undulation also, there is always going to be a kind of ebb and flow of attachment and detachment to things and people and places. And so again, like accepting where people are, and that acceptance could also be simultaneously accepting like that you're not where they are, and that's okay, and you can still love them while you are continuing onto your journey, onto this new path, onto further expansion. Okay, these are your affirmation cards. I trust my inner voice, and my ability to conquer my challenges is limitless. My potential to succeed is infinite. That is beautiful. So overall, I feel that this group can take a leap of faith with their emotions and sharing how they feel, their vulnerability, with releasing a person, place, or thing, and allowing yourself to be transformed through it, and accepting the person that you aren't anymore, and inviting in and accepting the person that you are becoming, and all the things that are needing to be released and walked away from through this, and also what you need and what your desires are, taking a leap of faith in your creativity, your intuition, your creative projects, and what you're feeling drawn to, and this new journey and higher path. So yes, group 1, that is your reading. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, of course, for more, and come back and see me. Hello, group 2. This is your reading on the leap of faith that you are hesitating on taking. So this one felt pretty direct. It's it's like your comfort zone is going to be where you stay stagnant. There's no reason to take a leap of faith if you want to just stay comfortable. So it's like you can take more risks here. You can try more. You can try more outlandish things here. I am the weaver of my reality in reverse. Okay. Luna. Lady Nada, and let me move this. Mary Magdalene. You have something important to share. Follow the inner call. Don't let anything stop you. Teacher awakens. The rose may be an important, attractive flower here, or the color red, pink, rose quartz. Awaken to acceptance and divine love, give and receive in balance. Okay, there's something that feels a little codependent about this group. I'm getting like sort of grown up in Catholic school, or a very nurturing, like restrictive schooling when you were young. Maybe it was religious based, or like growing up in a religion, in like strict religious household. There might be some I'm getting something, some kind of tense relationship with the mother. There's a need to really become vulnerable and to be more connected to your your feminine side, your emotional side. There's like something about you having given up some sense of power. Yeah, I'm seeing a feminine figure that was sort of a harsh critic. She may not have been the most nurturing or the softest. I'm also getting an energy of not feeling safe completely. Maybe not feeling safe with being feminine or being vulnerable, or not feeling that your feminine side or emotions are I don't know if it's, I want to almost say like you're feeling that they're not important, or you're in some way detached from that side, that more sensual, creative, softer, imaginative side. So I think like there's this habit of being very cold and logical and detached, and a wonder of how people are able to receive their desires or make things happen, or there's like this really strong desire, like a feeling that something's missing. There's a desire for fulfillment. There's a need to get to know the feminine side of you. And there's a lot of ways to do this. Tapping into your intuition, playing with the idea of having intuition, playing in those sort of like intangible places and realms, and allowing yourself to be led through your own curiosities and your emotions. Diving into your emotions, understanding them, feeling them, versus analyzing them. Allowing yourself to dream. So the comfort zone here is being realistic, being critical, being logical, being very cut and dry, being very rigid to a point. And I'm seeing the images of emotional strength and intelligence, as well as someone who is very direct and strict and discerning with their thoughts, with the things that they say and share, and their sense of expression. And someone of maturity, someone who has had to grow up a little bit faster than others. This leap of faith is surrounding a new way of being and perceiving things. And there's this feeling of being blocked from your desires and feeling out of control, and so there's a need to sort of, it's kind of dualistic in the sense of the more control you desire to have on things, the tighter your grip is, the less it seems that you actually have control. So there's, again, this like need to balance your masculine and feminine energies. So knowing when to, I don't want to say force, but knowing when to assert yourself and to push, and knowing when to soften and magnetize and attract. Yeah, there's a lot of feminine energy here. It's, again, like there's something very dual about this group. It's like a Gemini moon. I'm getting a Gemini moon, maybe a Libra moon. Those are some, excuse me, those are some astrology placements, astrological placements. If you're curious, there is a link in the description box underneath the timestamps. So, and time of birth gives you like a way more specific delineation, but yeah, there's a desire for emotional fulfillment, to feel emotionally satisfied. It's almost like someone who is doing the right things, but there's still like this missing piece to the puzzle for you to materialize what you desire. And there's like a part of you that needs to move out of the way to be able to align more with what you want. It's an invitation to soften, and maybe for some of you to do less. Like, I'm hearing someone who might be a little bit of an overachiever, who may feel the need to do all these things, and that's like how they earn self-worth versus just embodying self-worth. So I'm getting like this vibe of somebody who's like, I've done all this, I've done all that, I've done all this, I've done all that, like what's wrong, like things just aren't working out, like whether it's in manifestation or something else, which I guess manifestation could be a huge umbrella over a lot of things, but it's like the feeling is what's important when it comes to you and your reality. It's like you've figured out the formula, you've logically understood what you need to do when it comes to manifesting what you desire and reaching your goals, but the missing component is feeling, is getting out of the mind and embodying what you desire. I'm getting the manifestation technique of acting as if, or visualization, so that you can feel the emotions of this existence, job, relationship, or whatever that you're desiring, to feel what it's like to have those things. And getting into that heart space, that emotional space, to figure out what you actually want and not what seems good, what logically makes sense, but like what do you feel, what do you want? what deeply connects you emotionally, what triggers these emotions within you when you think about having it. I'm getting messages around grounding into your body, and also emoting and connecting with your emotions more will also help you to ground into your body. It's just for the 2. Nice for the 2. That's just empowerment. Okay. Clear out the old. Okay. So we have clear out the old at the bottom of the deck. Again, there's like this shedding of who you were, which could have been someone who was very guarded, who was detached from their emotions, or somebody who was could have been codependent in a way. And so with this, you have something to share, Mary Magdalene. It's like there's a strong need to strengthen your voice, to reignite your voice, to use your voice more consistently. And I feel like the archetype of the Queen of Swords is someone who sets boundaries, who's very direct and clear about what they want and what they desire. And so I feel like whenever we ignore the boundaries that we need to set, it belittles us, it cuts off our throat chakra of expression, and it also numbs ourselves to the guidance and alarm system that is our intuition and our emotions. And whenever we don't set these boundaries, it also makes it harder for us to create this reality that we're desiring and to accomplish goals, because we have all of these energy leaks. But there's a real strong need to rediscover the joys of your life, to shed any insecurities that you may have about your abilities, self-doubt, guilt, past heartbreaks and disappointments, because it's like this keeps you from, you're guarded in a sense, and it keeps you from experiencing new things, opening yourself up to new things. And this heart chakra, like feminine energy, this moon energy, is an energy that is strong because it's able to be vulnerable and compassionate and unconditionally loving, and not just to people who might not know how to accept it. That was my nice way of saying like jerks, or like narcissists and assholes who don't really know how to receive unconditional love, which I feel that you can give. But loving unconditionally, I mean this in a resilient sense, like all that has happened, all the heartbreak, all the people who disappointed you because really they didn't know how to receive the things that you give, which is interesting because we have give and receive and balance. So there might have been, and this can also play back into the whole imbalance of masculine and feminine energies. There was this like masculinized feminine action of constantly giving of yourself, giving of your energy and things like that, which is very disempowering, but it could also be a way of controlling the situation because you feel that what you give is what you're worth, which isn't true. But loving unconditionally is allowing yourself to, one, set boundaries and acknowledge where people are at and love them for that. But also there's a version of love that can be a little bit tough, a little bit spikier, where we let people know what we will not stand for and use our voice and be very strong in that way as well. And to be resilient beyond all the hurts, the past hurts and betrayals that we've experienced. So I feel now that I'm looking back at this comfort card in reverse, it's almost as if you're in a comfort zone that isn't really that comfortable for you. Like I don't feel that it's a natural place for you to be at. And I want to share something about myself with that message. It's like I had a coach for a few months and he was talking about false humility and being nice versus being kind. And there's sort of there goes my chair. There's sort of a superficiality in being nice. You feel like you're being nice because you're trying to get something from somebody, or you're trying to be perceived a certain way. You're going along to get along. You don't want to step on people's toes, not because that's the person that you are. You might be a fiery ass person deep down, but there's like certain fears or experiences or lashing out that you received from other people, criticism and things like that. Punishment even. Maybe you were punished for using your voice and speaking up. I know I went to Catholic school, and you got penalized for talking a certain amount and interrupting and just different things like that can really stifle you early on in your development, to where you become this person that you're comfortable with being, but deep down, if you look back at who you were as a child, it actually isn't that comfortable to be this person who's constantly kind of embodying a pushover, like a fake nice pushover, and then it grows resentment, and then you don't really trust your emotions, you know, and you've kind of betrayed your emotions and intuition about certain things. So it can kind of like create a whole sort of clusterfuck or mess of sorts. And you have to like acknowledge those things, look back on those things, send them love, be aware of the ways that love is and isn't expressed, and to find your power again, to re-empower yourself, to love yourself, to connect back into that true strength of the feminine energy, because the feminine energy is a lot of different things, and it's definitely not someone who's expected to give. You know, I think this group also should consider challenging maybe some of their gender norms or values. Maybe you grew up in a home where it was traditional, and really questioning what the traditional role of a woman or the feminine energy really is. Like, how does that look Is it just soft, or is that a construct? Is it always giving no matter what, and not expecting to receive, or is that a construct? Can you open up to the idea that you deserve to ask for your desires? Like, that is powerful. And be brave. Be brave. Taking the leap is for you, group 2, is speaking up. Sharing your story might be further along in your path. It might, you might share your story with other women, or I know I keep strongly pointing out that one gender, but that's what's coming up for me. So you may be somebody who empowers other women through this journey, and that's why you're going through it, who shows people how to resurrect their self-worth, travel, speak your truth, speak your voice, like write about this journey that you're going through. So there's a lot of components to this leap of faith, but I think it really starts with honing in on your voice and connecting connecting with those things that really light you up and engage you. I really want to suggest traveling. That was really like dinging in my mind, but I was walking around saying that. But getting out of your comfort zone can also mean like physically getting away from somewhere that you're familiar with. So go to a park you've never been to, go to a museum if you've never been to a museum, I don't know. But trying different things, going and trying. I feel like I talk about Indian food a lot. Maybe not on my videos, but it's like, oh my gosh, life changing. I have only tried a couple of dishes, but still, like, I'm already sold. But yeah, like trying new foods and different things, because this might sound super out there and woo-woo, but I mean, the message that just came to me just now is like, oh, I've never actually seen that card. Wow. We'll get to that. I feel that every experience that we have, everything that we ingest, whether it's auditorily, whether it's through our ears or through our mouths, through any of our senses, like there's information in those things. So by you even tasting a flavor that you've never tasted before, it could inspire something in you. As crazy as that sounds, like it could like inspire something in you. I'm also seeing somebody who's taken like a dance class, like a pole dance class or something, like getting in touch with your sensual side, even maybe getting involved with a community of women in your area, and that can be very inspiring too. Reading books. Maybe you've been drawn to Mary Magdalene or the wisdom of the Bible or something like that. So yeah, those are some ideas. I have 4 affirmation cards to end this reading. Allow yourself to be somebody who be somebody who you've always been and were supposed to be, not who you were socialized and domesticated to be. I just saw this card and it just, I don't know. There's so much information in this card. It's so beautiful. 5 is a number of change, of radical change. It's uncomfortable. We have wisdom with the owl. This figure looks blindfolded, so it's like, but then there's like this like area of his like subconscious. It's a clock. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing so many things. I could say so many things. Um, oh my gosh. Yeah, there's this like feeling of going within, and also maybe accepting the unknown as well. And then there's like this figure here laying on him that looks like just as translucent as him. I almost feel the need to mention like you aren't alone in these experiences either, and you're always being guided. And as you grow your worth, you will be able to feel that more deeply and to trust yourself more. So here are your cards. Let's wrap up. My mind is my tool to use in any way I wish. I believe in myself and my abilities. I release all negative thoughts of the past and all worries about the future. And lastly is my world is a reflection of my thinking. Okay, group 2, thank you so much for stopping by. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. And don't forget to like and share if this was helpful, if you think this would help somebody else. And yeah, I'll see you later. Hey, group 3. Oh, I almost completely switched your reading around by turning the cards upside down. Okay. That's actually not that funny. I don't know why. I'm so giggly. Okay, nurture. So when I was shuffling for this group, welcome, by the way. This is about the leap of faith that you are hesitating to take. That kind of rhymes. I need to write that down. The vibe I was getting from this group is someone who someone who's babying themselves, who may be babying themselves. They're not trying as hard as they could be. They're not putting in as much effort as they could be. They're underestimating their own abilities to be able to handle more, to take on more responsibility. I'm getting like a sheltered child sort of vibe. A hesitation to leave the nest sort of vibe, or to a hesitation to launch, or a failure to launch. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's like someone who has an issue like moving out of the family home for whatever reason. This specifically feels like just a lack of faith in the self, or just not really knowing your own strength and potential. So it's like the leap of faith is like take on more stuff, like see how much you see, how far you can take this, how much you can do. I crafted my core desires with certainty and ease. Number 10. Okay, yeah, so there's some doubt, there's some I feel there's a strong emphasis on trusting authority over yourself and not really seeing yourself as authority, like an inferiority complex. You project your own authority on other people and assume that they know more than you would know about things and what you want to do. And even like your way of seeing nurturing is someone telling you what to do. Like you would rather someone help you in that way, like, oh, could you just, like, what's the right answer? Like, there's seeking advice, and then there's disempowering yourself through constantly seeking some sort of reassurance and validation. And there's so much that can be learned through those moments where we scrape our knee after we fall off of the bike, when we take the training wheels off, falling on our face, or when we're skating for the first time. Like, all of those things are important for us in our development. So we can't just avoid those things. Venus and Saturn. Venus and Saturn. Okay, yeah, so this group, I'm getting strong Cancer energy, or strong personal planets, a heavy, like maybe a stellium. A stellium in astrology is 3 or more planets in a sign, or a house, I think. I know it's for sure in a sign. We'll say a house, the astrology house or sign. I have a link to a calculator, birth chart calculator, underneath the timestamps, and I definitely recommend finding out your time of birth because that gives you the most specific information. But I'm definitely getting strong 7th house placements, or a lot of planets in the 7th house, a lot of planets in the 4th house, maybe even the 8th house, but there's definitely a dependency on others. And also I can see where you definitely indulge in pleasure a lot more. But as far as like stick-to-itness, like sticking to something and hard work and things like that, like getting your hands dirty and having a routine that might not be the most interesting, or eating food sometimes that maybe aren't the most beautiful or most interesting foods, or I'm even getting somebody who would rather wine and dine than cook their own food at certain points. Like they might not like feel like cooking all the time, even though it might save them more money. So there's the discipline aspect here that's lacking. Like, oh, I just never really feel like cooking, and you know, I really love scallops and oysters and all of these, like, oh, I got a bottle of champagne which is worth like a week of groceries, you know. Just I'm really picking on y'all, but it's just an example. But there's definitely like also with Venus, there can be superficiality here as well. There's like a short game and like in the moment sort of vibe, versus Saturn here, which is very much long term building, which isn't always fun. It isn't always things that you want to do, but those things are really important because they craft you into a master, and they give you experience and wisdom and a deep, specific, well-rounded knowledge of life and of any skills that you're really desiring to become a master of and to advance in. Advancement is a big thing with Saturn, and career too. So there's a lot of like playing around and having other people take care of things for you, and maybe overspending, splurging, not really. There's codependency sort of, in the sense of like, I want to say more in the realm of finances. Like people help you a lot financially, and maybe you're the youngest in your family, you're the youngest or the only child, so there's a lot of like behaviors that were enabled as far as you being able to become more structured. The leap of faith here is structure, discipline, and consistency with this group, which, I mean, those don't sound very interesting, but it's whoa, my stomach literally jumps. Kali Ma. So some of you may have resonated with group 2 a little bit. I think I mentioned Cancerian energy, like Cancer moon, Pisces moon possibly. There's this need to challenge yourself. And challenging yourself can be a lot of different things. It could be moving out of your parents' house, even though you know that they they assist you in a lot of ways. You don't have to worry about paying certain bills. But will you ever really grow if you're allowing yourself to stay small in this way? If you are really much feeding into instant gratification versus planting seeds for a long-term growth or wealth or expansion and advancement. And these things may be fearful because there's a lot of projections and ideas that are made and said to us about maturing and growing up and finding a career and all of these things. So there might be some fear, and there's like this wanting to keep things really light and fun and airy. But if that's the only, if that's where we're leaning, the scale is going to be imbalanced. So I'm getting Venus in Gemini, Venus and Leo, Venus and Libra, and possibly Venus in Aries. But back to the reading. So there is a need to challenge yourself. Like, that's, I don't know how else to say that. And I feel like I'm being pushed away from getting any specifics, but there's something strongly around finances, around sort of an addiction to instant gratification, and that can come through social media. It can also come through like, oh well, I'm gonna go get takeout. If you really think about it, you can pay, if you compare it to groceries versus takeout, like your groceries will last you a lot longer than that, like just as expensive meal that you may or may not have leftovers for the next day for. So I would see that as instant gratification. What else? I mean, that could be sex addiction, instant gratification as far as like compliments and fleeting romances that kind of just give you a pick-me-up, or a sort of like igniting of your ego or confidence. It's like very fleeting things. Like investing in fleeting things is a big thing, is a big message that I'm getting here. And I'm finding false comforts in the fleeting things, and knowing that the desires that you want, it's about the quality, not the quantity. And you can have a lot more stimulation and engagement when you invest in something that holds long term, that has quality, that ages really well, different things like that. Like, and some of these are just, they could be looked at as metaphors, or maybe there's something that's coming to mind as I'm using these phrases and this language. But I don't know if this could be possibly a rebellion against strict constrictions or boundaries, because I got like I suddenly got this like dad energy all of a sudden. So I don't know if some of you had like a strict upbringing, and the way that you escape the real world, or that like sort of strictness that is mirrored to you, and maybe you've seen in like your authority figures and things like that, like to find this like empowerment and freedom from all of that, you indulge in certain ways. And so there's a need to kind of grow up out of that and really face this fear that you have around structure, and if that could even mean like redefining what the real world is for you, beyond like what maybe our parents or our parents' have told us, because it doesn't have to be the scary drudgery type of thing. There are going to be things that as you build, like, it becomes maybe not the most interesting thing, but I mean, watching it grow is a beautiful part of the journey. Watching something grow, watching something evolve and become better, and watching yourself evolve, become better, and advance as well. So, there may be a way where you can blend both worlds, like adding a beauty to your routine. So making it a ritual, bringing structure to your life, but also allowing yourself to be creative. So there may be this unorthodox way in which you weave structure and discipline into your life. And so I think this group definitely needs like some kind of artistic freedom, and possibly like coming up with some sort of intuitive daily routine. Like it might not look the same every day, but you might do some of the same things at different points in time when you feel guided to do that. So that's a suggestion too. I craft my core desires with certainty and ease. Yeah. I feel like this discipline will bring you the certainty that you're looking for, and in trying new things, because some of you might not even really know what you want to do career-wise. Like it might be a little bit blocked from you, but I think there's like some kind of connection and link to disciplining yourself. And solitude comes up too with the planet Saturn. So disciplining yourself, separating yourself from socializing, which I almost hesitate to say with this group, because Venus, I'm remembering too, is very like relationship based, like social sort of archetype of a planet. So there may be a need to take a hiatus from that, which could also lead back into this facing fear here. There may be a fear of solitude or being alone with your thoughts and the things that might come up in your thoughts. Did I? No, I haven't. I've just been talking. I hope I drew tarot for the last group. I'm pretty sure I did. I think so. I almost didn't with this group because just dove just dove right the fuck in, you know. Okay. It's been raining every afternoon here. I don't mind it. I guess it is hurricane season though. It's been like every afternoon this week. Alright, messages for group 3. Group 3. One card at a time. Okay. Group 3. Okay, yeah, there's like a sort of floaty kind of energy of it feels a little aimless, but I'm also getting that there's a need to have a sort of, I want to say a spiritual retreat, connecting with your inner child, allowing yourself to reflect back on, and there may have been some failures, there may have been moments of rejection, moments of weakness, some separations or falling apart, things falling apart at certain times that could also discourage you from really sticking to something or trying something again. But there's a sturdiness with Saturn. There's a resilience with Saturn and a consistency. So again, there's like a need to really understand and not be afraid of those energies, and to really, the leap of faith is really taking a leap into what you truly desire, the long-term desire, not the fleeting one, the one that you would marry, the one that you really care about and that you would want to learn all about, study, and really become craftful in. And those things may come about, and it might not just be one thing, you know. It could be a multitude of things, but those things will come about whenever you allow yourself to reflect, to again be in sort of a solitude place, in a meditative state, to experiment and understand and even alter and change your mindset and beliefs around certain things. Like I was saying, like what structure is meant to look like and feel like, your feelings around structure, if there's any fears around commitment, committing to certain things, and what your idea of commitment is, and where the fears of commitment come from. Yeah, it just feels like there's something you need to really research and study first. This is like a perfect time for you to one, release fears, to reflect on these things. So there might be a little bit of shadow work, a little bit of like subconscious examination here before you can really step out and I don't know why I want to say like debut something or share something or make a wish. Show your support. Or receive what you're desiring. I mean, I'm seeing, yeah, craft my core desires. I was going to say craft just makes me think of like you're creating or doing something, but yeah, there's some shedding, some make a wish really feels like, one, you're again having this like meditative time with yourself to really understand like what your deepest wishes are and what you really want to commit to building, shedding certain things, facing some fears before this perfect setting comes about for you to receive these rewards. There's some work that needs to be put in before you can receive these rewards, and it takes time. And things, also want to mention, things might not be pristine and beautiful. Like it might be a little bit messy in the beginning, you know, as things are developing and coming about, and you know, you might be ugly crying for the first week of it before you really hone in on what you desire, and if there are any ways that you've suppressed those true desires or taken up desires that are really other people's desires. The show your support here, the show your support card, feels very much like commitment. Again, showing your support is committing to a person, even if it's just for a few hours. So showing support for yourself and the way that you want to develop long term. And again, that means showing your support for yourself means facing your fears here. It means really aligning and diving into what your real desires are and making that wish, and really having faith, being vulnerable and trusting, and allowing yourself, again with that inner child that I mentioned, allowing yourself to have that unwavering faith like a child in the things that you desire and not have that fear. I feel like there's a fear of failure here, especially now I'm looking at Venus too. I'm getting like this energy of things need to be perfect and beautiful and pretty before I can share things. Like, oh wow, this perfect setting card here is definitely revealing that. It's like this need to have things to be a certain way before you can open up this shop, or before you can be in a relationship, or before you can, like, my body needs to be this way, before you can take pictures of yourself. I don't know, that's something I've been really wanting to do. Before you can step in front of a camera, you need to lose, I don't know, like an insane amount of weight, you know? Like, the thing is with Saturn energy is showing up to practice. And I'm also getting the book Outliers, where they discuss how much time it takes to perfect something. So showing up to practice means that there may be days that you're off. There may be, if this is something new, it won't look perfect. It won't be what you think it is, but it's showing up for yourself, showing support. Showing up is showing support for yourself, and really grounding into that and what that means for you, and also releasing any perfectionism that you have about how things are supposed to look and feel and all of that, because Saturn isn't really worried about that. It's really worried about clocking in and clocking out those times, because all of that time that you put into whatever you're trying to learn, and I feel like this group, it's something artistic with Venus here, something artistic, something maybe with aesthetic. Saturn is really worried about the time you put in and not how it looks necessarily, because Saturn, when you're working with that energy of consistency and there's a maturity that adapts whenever you become more disciplined, and you can trust Saturn. Saturn energy is very reliable, so that archetype is really showing you that regardless of how it looks, trust and believe that the amount of time that you put into something, into practicing something, is really what's going to evolve it into that beautiful thing that you're wanting it to be. So regardless of how it looks 3 days in, 3 months in, 3 years in, like, it's more important that you are showing up each day, and also being compassionate with yourself, and accepting where you are in that process, and that it's okay if it's messy sometimes. Like, it's going to be, but as you show up consistently, you're going to be met with more possibilities, with more opportunities, and you'll be stronger because of it. And so I feel like there's a discipline spiritually, there's a discipline physically, there's a discipline emotionally, there's just a need to be financially, like I was saying earlier, there's a need for discipline, there's a need for some maturity, and accepting that maturity is a part of the path of mastery and discipline and all of those things. So I feel for this group, it starts with a mental and emotional level before the actions align and you embody those things. And I was going to say something and I forgot. Oh, that's so annoying. Okay. I believe in myself and my abilities. So these are your last, I have 4 cards for you. Affirmation cards to end off the reading. I believe in myself and my abilities. The universe totally supports every thought I choose to think and to believe. And I stand up for what I believe in. Oh, and lastly, my mind is my tool to use in any way I wish. Okay, group 3, that is your reading. Let me know in the comments what stuck out for you, and like, share, and subscribe for more. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you later.